Hello, Leftofawesome. Well, as you can see from my far more dignified appearance, I've found some patriotism and religion upon coming to Utah and have joined the Utah Republican Party. Tomorrow morning I shall be attending church services at the temple and, meeting my new bishop. That being said, I can still associate with you leftist, bisexual, anarchist, socialist bastards. And at least long enough to give you a little message about helping real Americans. As a newly patriotic American, instead of you left-wing commie fools, you pinheads, I care about when, instead of hardworking Americans making my goods, they're produced by foreign labor, cheap foreign goods that are sent in across our borders because we have insufficient protectionism. I don't like it when we get commie goods instead of goods manufactured in the good old US of A. This is why I support such programs as Plan Colombia. You see, when you go to get your fix and buy some cocaine, frequently you'll find that that cocaine was not American-made, nor was it American-grown. This is a travesty. Real hard-working Americans, your fellow countrymen, are losing money because of cheap foreign goods flown in from such countries as Colombia. Fortunately, the United States government is helping. We have sent in quite a bit of military aid to Colombia, and yet the left incessantly opposes this. It's mind-boggling to me how anyone could oppose this attempt to help real American workers, who are so often squelched by big government as it is. Dangerous and pathetic left-wing internationalist groups like Amnesty International and the United Nations criticize our military aid to Colombia, which, as I mentioned before, helps good American farmers of cocaine. They claim that Colombian aid, or United States aid to the Colombian government, finances right-wing death squads that indiscriminately kill civilians, and they claim they have data to support this. Sounds like liberal talk to me. The sort of thing that tries to distract us from the real importance of this situation. We can't let concern for foreign civilians that don't even speak our language get in the way of helping the American worker. It simply doesn't make sense from a patriotic perspective. So what if we're, in fact, violating United States law? So what if we're violating the Lee provision, created by Senator Patrick Lee, which prevents us from giving anti-narcotics aid to foreign military units whose members have violated human rights? So what if author Grace Livingston, notorious left-wing activist, and the horrible Human Rights Watch investigated and published a study which concluded that at least half of Colombia's 18 brigade-level army units have extensive links to far-right paramilitaries that have engaged in extensive human rights abuses. Human rights is the sort of thing that the left uses to justify their opposition to America's interests. Look at Noam Chomsky, look at Howard Zinn. They all use human rights as a smokescreen for anti-Americanism. It's quite clear. And for those of you who thought that the American left, say American unions at least, would be the type who would try to protect the American worker, who would try to protect those of you who work hard to help feed your families, possibly through growing drugs, from foreign competition that is coming in cheaper and having unfair market price and just destroying your own hard-earned cash. However, not so. Take Leo Gerard, president of United Steelworkers, which you would think would protect the American worker. He stated, "We are strongly opposed to the amount of military aid being sent to the Colombian army when Unionist and innocent people are being killed by the very military forces we are financing." Have you no concern for America's hard-working farmers of cocaine? Have you, sir? It's just tragic that so few people care about Americans anymore. He's so concerned with Colombian civilians that he forgets the big picture. Thankfully, the United States government is not only trying to help out America's hardworking growers of cocaine, but also those involved in the production of opiates. Unfortunately, there are those who attempt to stop our efforts to curtail cheap Islamic, Afghanistani, foreign, unpatriotic, and highly un-American opiates from getting here. Christopher Hitchens, renowned atheist, Brit, and Trotskyist, claimed that it was hurting our prosecution of the war in Afghanistan and the war on terror as a whole to be burning the opium poppy crops in Afghanistan. What a fool. What an arrogant fool. For someone who claims to be devoted to the workers, what with his socialist roots, you'd think that Christopher Hitchens would care about the American workers. But apparently the left, whether it's Christopher Hitchens, union leaders, or so-called human rights organizations, put silly ideological principles before the well-being of real Americans. So, I suppose you'll just have to remember to do your part, if the left will not, with the exception of Barack Obama, who expanded this week our military presence in Colombia to several new bases, and will be sending lots more funding, thankfully. But, while the left opposes this, I suggest you, my fellow Americans, do your part to curtail the influence of foreign goods. Next time you need your fix, be sure that when you get your drugs, ask your dealer and make sure you're buying American. Thank you, and God bless America.